Happy Thursday, y'all. Welcome to Southern Lightwork, or welcome back if this is not your first time watching my little videos. Doing a kind of an impromptu reading. I was about to lay down and take a nap, and I felt something moving in my body. So I had to get up and it's been on my mind and on my heart to do a reading about what we can do when we get discouraged by the spiritual journey. Because I don't know about y'all, but been fighting for my life out here. Just not that I'm getting discouraged per se, but just trying to keep my vibration high, trying to listen to less stuff going on. You know, you can only hear so many stories about what's going on in the world without letting it affect you negatively, right? So I'm of the opinion that you need to know what's going on for one thing, to know how to protect yourself, how to be prepared, but also with, responsibility to the greater humanity. Like I can't walk around with my head in the sand. Of course not walk around with your head in the sand, but you know what I mean. Can't just bury my head in the sand and an act of self-preservation, because at some point it's time to act. It's time to do something, to speak out against injustice, to take action on injustice, to make lasting changes. So I feel like that is definitely it's on a lot of people's minds, and aside from whatever personal things we have going on that make this journey difficult or challenge us on this journey, I just want to see if there's anything in the cards today that might help us. So if that interests you, keep watching. We'll see what we get doing this together. Pulled out a few decks. I haven't used in a while. I have the Dark to Light Oracle. It's one of my favorite decks. It's so beautiful, so well done, by Carlene. I think her YouTube channel now is called Hello Carlene. Karleen. She's fantastic, phenomenal reader and channel, and just very insightful, very brilliant person. And I have my Black Churchish Oracle. For additional messages, I have my one of my unnamed oracles I just got. I love they're only images, no words, no guidebook or anything. So just to see what intuition tells us. And then if I'm not even sure I'm going to use tarot, but if I do, I'm going to use this the Daydream Tarot. Okay, so first off, I want to thank my ancestors. My powerful, spiritual, sexual, formidable, and protective ancestors, known and unknown, blood relative and non-relative. Friends and strangers. I thank myself as my own ancestor. I thank my spirit team of shapeshifters, ETs, Fae, and regular everyday saints. I thank the angels, the archangels that are watching over me and guiding me. Archangel Michael, Metatron, Raphael, Gabriel, Mary Magdalene, Apostle Mary. Please help me channel this message, that it is for our highest good, that it is clear and concise, that it is unobstructed by any dark energies that attempt to infiltrate and distort what comes through or block. Help me to rise above it and to remain above it. Any lower frequencies. In the name of the Most High God, please protect me and anyone watching this video or listening to this video. May all the messages that need to be received come forth today. And so it is. And this guidebook for the Dark to Light Oracle is on a PDF. It's not an actual guidebook. I keep saying I'm just going to print it out and make a book, which, you know, if you deal with a little touch of ADHD like me, do a whole lot of thinking and a lot of procrastinating or putting off or getting distracted from. So whoever that's for, just know you're not alone. Whatever, if it's age related, if it's not, if it's, you know, something that you're constantly dealing with, or just acknowledging, just realizing, you are definitely not alone. Okay. Let's see. These are big cards, but I'm going to see if I can riffle shuffle and get some jumpers. What do we need to know when this spiritual journey gets hard, Spirit? What do we need to know? What does the collective need to know when the spiritual journey feels hard? We'll ask that too. Okay. Okay, they're trying to come out. Sometimes I wonder if, I don't think Spirit holds back messages. I think we are resistant to receiving them sometimes. So it takes a while for them to come out. There we go. Arrangements. Such beautiful cards, my lord. Arrangements. Okay, now try that again. Ooh. It's already giving me like flower arrangements, like a bouquet, some type. For what occasion, I don't know, if any occasion, or just maybe giving yourself your own flowers. So we'll see what her guidebook says. Alright, I'm about to just pick some. Alright, let's do it this way. Now watch it, gonna jump now. What'd I tell you? Fear. So we got arrangements, right question, and fear. You can see these. Okay, so let's see what our guidebook says. And they are in alphabetical order. So this one is, the card says arrangements. In this card, we see a woman carefully arranging flowers. There are many steps going into arrangements. They begin with the principles we set as valuable. These come from and simultaneously dictate our cosmic and world view. This view then dictates our analysis of where we see ourselves, where we belong, and where everything else belongs as well. That determines what we expect and desire from ourselves and others, which leads to the creation of agendas, manipulations, and motives in our actions. This card invites you to look behind the scenes of what's happening and become aware of what is really motivating you in your desires, thoughts, and actions, or what is motivating another person or group you're thinking of. What is the driving belief, desire, or analysis which leads to the careful arrangement or manipulation for gain in your actions, words, and thoughts? It could also be that someone is manipulating you or the situation. This could be someone who likes to meddle and create narratives to achieve a specific outcome. If we work with our creative faculties in a so that or in order to paradigm, meaning doing things specifically for outcome and not because it brings our soul joy, because it brings our soul joy, and because it is an authentic expression of ourselves. It limits and restricts us and keeps us locked in the limitations of a cultural paradigm and matrix we find ourselves trapped in. This culture is not just a culture of the outer world or communal group. It can also be an inner culture that we cultivate and arrange so that, or in order to. Okay, that was kind of long, but you get the point. And the way she describes these, the light are when it comes up upright, and the dark is when it's in reverse. So since it came in upright, intentions are clear to you now, and you know that you're truly aiming for. You know what you are truly aiming for in your actions. Because of this, you can work through the feelings of lack which underlie those intentions. Heal and tap into bigger intentions. You know to be inclusive of others, to allow a natural flow to occur, are now trusting in outcomes even though they may not be what you envision as an optimum for you. You work to the best outcome of all involved, and you create true gifts rather than organize outcomes only to your benefit. You have left behind the games, the distortions, the fakery, and are fine working with what is truth, and you now find truth beautiful and empowering. You look for the truth in all you do. Someone is offering you truth and is truly offering to arrange their lives in a way to include you. This may take the shape of friendship, a business partnership, or a romantic union. They are working with you in mind, and that is a gift to you, although physical gifts from them may manifest. They are truthful to you, and you are to them. Arrangements and diplomacy to the benefit of all, agreements, positive contracts, amendments, forgiveness, redemption. That's nice. So, right question. Sorry, I just scrolled past it. So this card, in the upright or the light, in the light, the right questions present themselves as a way for knowledge to communicate to us. In a sense, reaching out to us and inspiring, and I think it's supposed to say, and inspiring us to open our minds, perception, and perspective. The right questions can lead to vast worlds, new concepts and ideas, and growth in our understanding. In this situation, are you asking the right question? Or are you focused on validating what you already believe to be true? The right questions can be steps on a ladder leading upward. The other kind of questions spiraling downward into darkness. Be mindful of the information you seek and consume. Just as the right food builds your body, the right information builds your mind. It builds the basis of your consciousness and awareness. And I just referred to like the concept or the idea of ascending, spiritual ascension, as like, okay, we're just reaching the next rung on this ladder. And she's talking about ladders. But, just people making arrangements for you. That's the part that stood out to me, that someone is trying to include you in their life, in their plans. So take that as it resonates. It could be a romantic partner. It could be somebody, an executive at a company that you want to work for, that you don't even know you want to work for. Family members, so it can be whatever makes sense for you. And asking the right questions, that's so important to this spiritual journey, is like asking the right questions about what should I be focusing on? What should I not be focusing on? How does it involves blocking out a lot of noise. A lot of noise, a lot of unhelpful, even detrimental people, relationships, connections that will stand in the way of it. And it's not even so much about like I'm being so hard-nosed and so laser focused on my journey that I miss out on connecting with people. It's just that's what it will feel like to the external world. It will feel like you are abandoning people, that you're isolating too much. And sometimes it's because you're leaving that person behind, that they can't come with you. So they will misunderstand. And it's hard, especially if it's, somebody that you've been really close to up until the moment that you realize that you're going through some type of spiritual awakening. So far it just feels like you're on the right track. You're asking the right questions. Maybe you need to think about asking more right questions. And as for fear, in the light, this card, and it's such an ominous picture, like it could be an ominous picture. But when I see this, I always look at like how it's kind of weird how this unnatural looking circular half circle at the top of the image looks like it's above some trees, but trees aren't shaped that way, right? So it kind of looks like a portal. Just noticing that. So this path is lit. It's easy to see. But there's just a bunch of dark trees, like a forest. You could walk into the forest, or you can go through this portal. So this card, in the light, just as everything else, there's a light side to fear. Yeah. The side that protects you from harm, that alerts you to something threatening, possibly life-threatening. But fear can also be exhilarating, such as watching horror movies, roller coasters, that bad decision one-nighter, etc. But it can also illuminate in much deeper ways. Fear can be the light of the path to and through the wound. Sometimes to heal, we have to track fear, pick up its scent, and follow where it leads us. When you draw this card in the light, it is time to track the wound again. Oh, that word is wound, not wound. Dig deeper and don't give up. Don't stop walking until you're completely through. In a common sense and sane way, face what you are afraid of. You will see it dissipate like the night mist in the morning. And I have definitely said that recently in readings. Is like, follow your fear. When you follow your fear, it's like going through a rainstorm in your car. Like if you're driving, it starts pouring down rain. Do you stop under a bridge because there's no rain there? Because the rain might still be there when you go out of the bridge. If it's not moving in the direction you think it's moving in. It could be moving with you, going in the same direction, then you're still driving into it. But at some point, you're going to outdrive the storm. You're going to get to a point where it's not raining on you anymore. So why not just keep driving? Follow your fear. Bottom of the deck. Oh, I love this card. Innocence. Innocence. So let me read that one. This journey is hard. It's scary. It's uncertain. It's sometimes sad. Sometimes glorious. Sometimes it's like can make you so happy and you get such validation, and it's like, okay, well, I got enough to keep going. And then something else happens and you feel like, is this worth it? And then you get another reminder that it is, and it's a little back and forth. But innocence, once lost, is one of the few things that cannot be restored, right? But in the light, innocence in the light is a beautiful attribute. It is the key to the door of imagination and repairs all bridges to other people and worlds. Its light brightens any outlook and perception, any smile in the heart. Innocence is what keeps your mind open to learning, therefore to growth, a child, a new project, small things, half things, pets, unknowing, inexperienced, naive. So that is for sure feels like the Sun card in the tarot deck. You know, just like being naive again. But not to the point where you're putting yourself in harm's way, but just like being curious. Be curious and allow yourself to experience new things. Allow yourself to experience new people, new situations. Because if you're using your discernment, you'll know if you need to leave. You'll know if it's not serving you. And you can continue to explore, continue to be open to new experiences. So that's definitely something I think we need to be reassured of. That you will still face the dark, but you've done that. You faced it. This is on the other side of it. Return to innocence. Y'all excuse me, but I keep hearing something outside my window. No, I don't think there's anything there, but all right, I think I'm going to use my Black Church Oracle last. Let me get some of these unnamed oracles. Draw or write something on the back so I can keep these together. One more shuffle. One more. Okay, so tell us anything else we need to know about getting over discouraging feelings, thoughts. I just turned that the wrong way. It's my deck. Okay, it's upright. It came out in reverse though. I'm not taking reversals on this deck. I pulled this card once the other day. It's as vast as the ocean. As beautiful as a sunset. That card is it always gives me the depth of someone's feelings. So if you're feeling really deep feelings for a situation you're in, a person that you love, this is, the arrangements are being made with this in mind, like the vastness of these feelings, water's cup energy, emotions. That's what I get from that. Just a beautiful landscape, waterscape. It's warm. It's the water. I can't tell the temperature of the water, but whatever it is, it's inviting. You know, it's just, come take a dive. You know, even from this vantage point, this person is like either standing on the shore or swimming and just emerging to look at the sun one last time before it sets. In that moment, I just got funeral arrangements. I don't know why. Someone could be losing someone, anticipating the loss of someone. I'm sorry if that's the story, but this beautiful card is like, you know, just admiring the sun one more time. Someone who was very important, very influential to you or someone that you know. One last glance in the arrangement, so that could resonate with somebody. What else, Spirit? More water, but it is looks like a cruise ship. It also looks like the Titanic. Looks like the Titanic. Before it sank. So, you know, I'm thinking about, like, there's, you know, destiny is destiny, but there are things that could have been avoided. There are things, that some parameters that may have been ignored or that just weren't considered in this case that caused this ship to sink. But look at how choppy this water looks, that the clouds are dissipating, that they may have just gotten through a storm, like I was just saying about driving through a storm. They may have just kept sailing and reached a point in the sky where there's an opening, where there's no storm clouds. Look at all the storm clouds around that opening. Possibly, you know, if they're that dark at night, it's probably raining, right? Or just covering the moon. But they made it to the reprieve. So is this ship gonna sink? Maybe not. It might actually make it through. So when you ask the right questions, you can avoid catastrophe. You can avoid the what's the word I'm looking for? Spirit, please help me. You can avoid the tendency or the, oh my gosh, I guess that works. The tendency or the inclination to try to ride the storm out. Thank you. You might be feeling like you need to stay in a situation, stay in a job because you can't see a way out. But maybe you're not asking the right questions, because there is a break in the clouds. There is a break in the storm. You just have to stay in the choppy waters long enough to get to it. You got to stay in the choppy waters until you get here. Because, I mean, this is not, they're little waves, but, you know, the ocean's waves can get much, much bigger than that. Those look like little baby waves. They're rocking these little vessels down here. I don't know if the light's picking that up. There's little tiny, like, weights. I don't think they're anchors. I don't know what those are. But they look like little irons. Anyway, it's rocking these things, but this ship looks steady. So that could be a testament to your strength, your endurance. It will pay off. About fear. What else? If that ain't harvest, I don't know what is. That is harvest. And it looks like this light. It looks like another portal. We got wheat. And it looks like a lot of it. Look how long this, how vast this, there's another vast area of crops. You know, this is reaping what you've sown, literally. You sow the seeds, and they're planting more. There's wheat that's already grown. It's very Seven of Pentacles. Wheat that's grown, and they're planting more seeds to get even more harvest, because I've already put this work in. This is a result of my work. This is a result of me facing my fears. These are the trees that looked like a big, huge forest, and now the trees are they're smaller on this horizon, because I've gone past the barrier, the forest, the trees, the roadblocks, the obstacles for this. And the bottom of the deck is, pulled that card before. Breaking chains. And you know what's significant about this image too is, like, these chains appear to be, like, this opening appears to be the focal point of the picture, but there's nothing on either side. Like, there aren't chains on the opposite side. It's kind of like when you drive past somebody's house and there's a big wide, the land is wide, right, leading up to a house, but they got a piece of a chain link fence just on the driveway. So, like, you're going to stop people from driving on your land if you have this tiny little fence that doesn't even go the spans of the yard of the land. So it doesn't stop anybody from walking through. But if you feel like, if you believe that this is the barrier, if you believe that this can keep you out, you will stay stuck. You don't see that you can edge around the side, or you can't edge around in your car. You got to think differently. What if I walk, and I'm not suggesting anybody trespass anybody's house, but the point is, sometimes we're so laser focused. Again, I'm talking about laser focused. We're so focused on getting through this way that looks like the only way in, when there's other ways around. And these are some big chains. And from, the perspective, the size, the scale of these things, they look huge. And if that's chained together, it would look like, that's impossible to get through. But when you have childlike innocence and you are naive enough to believe that you can get through something, even if you don't go through it, you go around it. That's where you want to be. You want to be in a place where you don't see the obstacle the same way that other people see it, or, you don't see it at all. Like, there is no obstacle there. I can get around it. That is innocence. That is what kids do. Kids do things with reckless abandon because they don't know that there's a consequence. They don't know that it may not turn out right. They just act on impulse. And I'm doing this thing because I'm exploring the world, and I just want experiences. I just want injuries. It seems like I just want to fall off and bust my head open. But I learned, I did it. It was fun. And maybe I got hurt. So maybe I won't do it the same way again. But the part leading up to getting hurt was fun. Can I do things differently? Can I be a little more cautious and still have fun? That's a message. Be more cautious and still have fun. I like that idea. All right, I do want some tarot. Keep my deck together. Let's see what tarot can tell us about who this is about. I want to know who. I'll ask what this is about, and I'll ask my Black Church Oracle who it's about. Let's do that. What if this can tell us what exactly this is about. What is this? Arrangements and the sunset. Okay. I get Temperance and King of Wands. King of Wands is balanced. I don't want to say an impulsive king, because kings are probably not impulsive, right? Not very. Even if a King of Wands is like a reformed, impulsive knight that has made it to king. There's still that fire. Still a little bit of fire. Like the king's men and women probably they carry all the other torches, but the king's got his own little torch. There's still some fire there. And I always love how this image is, the king looks like he's in his pajamas. Like he's not wearing his armor. He's got on his pajamas under his cape, his robe, but he's wearing his crown. He's barefoot. But it's like, okay, they're out here my army may be fighting for me or getting ready to fight for me, and something attacked us in the middle of the night. I'm getting up and I'm coming out with my torch anyway, because I'm the king. I'm not going to let you fight battles for me without me, even if I'm not prepared. Because he's impulsive, right? He left without putting his clothes on. He left without putting his armor on. But he's going. And then there's balance with that, though. There's balance with being impulsive, managing that with measured decisions, emotions. There's an angel on this card who looks a little sad, maybe a lot sad, but she is holding a cup that looks like it's got a hot liquid in there, maybe tea, maybe, I don't know, Theraflu, but also wearing this crown. So it feels like a reluctant, like they look like they're serving somebody. If I put them this way, it looks like the angel is serving someone tea, possibly the king. So if, you know, someone is reluctantly giving up a part of the ego that felt fun, that made them feel alive, it's also the balance they needed. It's the balance they needed, and they'll eventually be okay with that. Making arrangements, giving up something for something better. Looking at the horizon, looking at the sunset, the beautiful water, the still water. We go from still water to choppy water. When you ask the right question, sometimes the answer you get is not a fun one, but it's the right one. It's the truth, hopefully. I hope this is making sense. But you have to give up something to be a king. Or a queen. Have to give up something. I don't know why the analogy of coaches, sports coaches, regardless of the sport. I mean, I'm closer to football, American football, but like those coaches give up their entire lives. Like, and I have a cousin that's teaches high school sports, and he has very little time. Like, you have to spend so much time developing your players, your team, the staff, coaching staff, you know, dealing with all kinds of issues, their personal issues that stop them from playing, their personal issues that keep them from excelling, or injuries. You know, there's so many things that go into it that the coach has his or her finger on, or is always aware of, and always bearing, you know, the mental burden of that. So it's hard to give up. You know, I'm sure there's a mixture of, I like being in charge, I worked hard to get here, but it's hard to give up the ego, or at least allow people to help you. So that may be why this angel looks so so reluctant, so butthurt. It's like, but I gave up what I needed to give up to be a king, to be balanced enough to be this king. Male or female? And right question, and the Titanic-ish. What about this getting to the break in the clouds is significant? And he asked the right question. The tower. Of course, that's kind of what I'm saying. Is like, when you ask the right, that's a lot of what keeps people stuck, is not asking the right questions because you don't want to know the answer. So maybe it will cause towers. It will cause towers in your life. Towers are not necessarily, they're not fun, but they're necessary. And they usually lead to something much better, right? The card after the tower, after the fool goes through the tower, then the star is next. Wish fulfillment. You get something for letting something else go. You get there when you keep going through the choppy waters. The choppy waters eventually calm down, and you get to a break in the clouds. You let the tower fall. You have rubble, but lots of things grow from ashes. The phoenix emerges from the ashes. New life can begin from ashes. This also makes me think of the song, it's a gospel song, Peace Be Still by James Cleveland. It's based on the biblical story of Jesus being asleep in this boat with his disciples, and the storm comes and they're all terrified, and it's like, where's your faith? It's just a storm. And then he just says, peace be still, and everything calms down. The clouds dissipate. The water calms down. So if you think of how the tower can help you. That's the right question. How can this tower be for my good? When I'm on my spiritual journey, everything is happening for you. Hard to believe. May not feel like it. May feel like a personal attack from the universe. But it is most certainly for your good. Okay. What about this wheat? Oh, the Queen of Wands. So we got the King and the Queen of Wands. Of course, this is, and you know, kings are embody swords energy, being, you know, communicative, decisive. Queens embody cups energy, emotional balance. At the level of the queen, having the same passion, and like she's walking through this field of tall flowers with her eyes closed. Like, I got this. I can do this with my eyes closed. I can invest. I can harvest. I can reap what I've sown, because what I've sown is something that I know that I'm good at. I faced my fear. I went through this portal so that I can have this. And I mean, it looks like this is more harvest, even though these plants don't look all that great. But, you know, look how tall they are. They've been growing. They might be weeds. But I had some weeds in the backyard of a house I rented once. They were almost that tall. But she can do it with her eyes closed. So something that you've overcome, something you've mastered, something that you have, or that you will. This is the energy that's coming when you face your fears, that you can get through this. On the bottom of this deck is the Six of Cups. Six of Cups, coming home. This looks like a little vine, but it's giving generational, I don't know why, some type of generational symbol. That's not what I want to say. Like a family tree. It looks more like a family tree to me. So there could be some reunification of a family unit, of a friend group. Could be a romantic partner. Six of Cups also talks about nostalgia, like coming back home to something or someone familiar. And I'm trying to see if I can tell what these things are. They look like timepieces. Yeah. There's like little hearts in 4 of the cups, and I guess they're hearts. And these look like timepieces in 2 of them. Took time. Something took time. But it's like a warm cup of coffee. Yeah. Somebody's feeling that warm coffee energy. If you drink coffee, if it's tea, whatever suits you. So, what comes next, Spirit? What is to be anticipated from arrangements being made for someone to fit into a certain lifestyle? Whatever changes are coming, asking the right questions, facing fears, letting towers happen. What's next? What can the collective expect next? What is next for the collective on the spiritual journey? Ooh, Hoodoo Priestess. That's my High Priestess in this deck. Everybody consults the High Priestess. So that may be what's next for you. You might be, like I said, it could be in someone else's life, romantically, professionally, for you making space in your own life for your spiritual gifts, whatever gifts have come about, what's developing, how you fit that into your daily routine. So they had that I'm going to read the guidebook on that too. Mothers of the church. Yeah. That's another person you want to ask questions of. Your elders. You want to ask your elders for guidance. And you know, not all elders are high vibrational or can impart any wisdom, but you know who to ask. Everybody older than you knows something you don't know. Simply because they've lived longer. Even if all they can offer you, even if I'm talking about a karmic parent, you know, it's that you don't really like to deal with, spend time with, there's something that person knows. And really, I get, like, sometimes people are not safe enough to talk to, so just use your discernment on that. But getting advice from your elders, watching them live, watching what they do, if it matches what they say, you know, just like, who set an example for you? They know how to get through towers, for one thing. They have been through some towers, and they can advise you, even if it's not the exact same situations, apples to oranges, but they know a thing or two. And for this fear card, what's coming from facing fears? Being the Queen of Wands, reaping your harvest, Seven of Pentacles. Oh, okay. I don't think the camera caught that, but two cards came out, fought each other. They like hit each other and flew over there to the floor. Benediction and changed man. Look, you could be saying 12-12. These numbers reduce. That reduces to a 12. You could be saying 12-12. I see it all the time on the clock. All the time. And I believe that is a number kind of, or mirror numbers that are associated with divine love, twin. I don't know if it's related to twin souls, twin flames, but the benediction and the changed man says wrapping something up, and the hangman. This is the hangman in this deck. So let me get this guidebook so we can tie this together. And at the bottom of the deck is the scholar, the fool. Yeah, an ending and a new beginning. Absolutely. So let's see what I wrote for the high priestess. Number 2, hoodoo priestess, excuse me, is the same as a high priestess. The scripture is Acts chapter 16, verse 16. That's a number I also see a lot, 1616. As we were going to the place of prayer, we were met by a slave girl who had a spirit of divination and brought her owners much gain by fortune telling. There are all sorts of misconceptions about the American practice of root work, or hoodoo, as it's commonly known. My grandmother's home remedies were root work. Cow hoof tea for respiratory problems, castor oil back in the day when it wasn't fishy, for gut health, and even blowing, and we know castor oil now can be used for skin, for everything now. And for even blowing menthol cigarette smoke to alleviate hay fever or allergies. When this card is pulled, you may be called to trust your intuition more than ever. Sis looks like she just knows something, even if she hasn't seen the proof yet. She is waiting patiently for it and knows it's coming. Depending on the spread, it could also be a warning that someone is playing in your face and in your energy, and you might need a bundle of sage honey. Use your discernment to determine how it applies. So that's just the warning, but I'm focusing on a King of Wands. Jumping to action. Balance, because they're balanced now. And, you know, this can embody the collective, or this could be this person or whatever is happening to bring balance. Increase intuition, increase spiritual gifts, spiritual practices. Those can be the arrangements too. Take that as it resonates, for sure. But either way, it's a knowing, it's an intuition. It's definitely intuition coming into play. It's going to be heightened. You're going to use it more than you realize. You're going to pay attention. You're going to trust it more than you ever have. Yeah. Mothers of the church. The scripture for this one is Proverbs chapter 31, verses 25 to 26. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. The mothers are an unofficial society of feminine elders in the Black church. Some of them may be original members and have witnessed changes in pastors, choir directors, congregation sizes, and carpet colors. They've raised money, prepared food, voted for changes, preached hidden Easter eggs, read scriptures, and announcements. You might find them in an unmarked, reserved section of the church nearest the accessible entrance on any given Sunday. The intention in this card is that you know you're being protected by a guild of grandmothers. Ooh. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry, I just felt mine. A guild of grandmothers at least 7 generations deep. When you're struggling and when you're bossing up, they have a warm, home-cooked meal energy with your name written all over it. Acknowledge and thank them regularly and see what you reap. When you go through this tower, when you allow this tower, you let things fall away that are not serving you. You ask the right questions. You keep going until you get to the opening, the break in the storm clouds. Then you keep asking the right questions. You don't stop there. You don't feel like this is the end of it. I've learned what I needed to learn. I'm good. I'm on my own. Some folks think, I've done so much healing that I should be done now. Okay, well, keep thinking that. Because there's just like a break in the storm until the next storm. This is what this human condition is storm after harvest, after sunlight, after beautiful sunset on the beach. Like there's a mixture of all of it. And you got to go through all of it. You can't sit on the sidelines in your own life. So you have to keep asking the right questions. For benediction and changed man, let's do benediction first. The scripture on this is Genesis chapter 31, verse 39. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. So many official gatherings conclude with something specific. Credits at the end of movies. The clock runs out at sporting events, and churches often end with a benediction. When my father was my pastor, he closed out so many services with this scripture, and in some places all who knew it said it in unison. This card in a spread may be a nod that it's time to roll the credits on some situation, relationship, behavior, or manner of thinking, and it's not supposed to be like just any ending. This time you have to do something proactive to end it, and with a light heart, with forgiveness, or even a parting blessing. Do whatever work you need to do to depart with grace. And look, I'm reading this again like it's the first time and like I didn't write it, but I'm getting emotional with that too. Just leaving things behind, leaving people behind is scary. It is scary when you feel like that's all you've ever known. They're all you've ever known. But if they're blocking you from reaping your harvest, you got to be a Queen of Wands and walk through that dead grass. Even if it's dead, you got to walk through it because it's yours. Walk through it holding your torch, with your head held high, with your crown on. Fix your crown. It's yours. And even if it means you got to walk away from something you created, you have to end something you created that you have a new perspective on. Let me read that one too. That's one of the hardest things. It's like it's easier to leave when somebody else fucked up. it's easier to do that because you got somebody to blame. When it's you, when you have like built something that needs to crumble, it's hard. And it may take you a few times to get it right, but it's so worth it. The changed man. Scripture here is Romans 12, verse 2. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove that the will of God is that which is good and acceptable and perfect. Quiet as is kept, you are never stuck. In a relationship, a career, a group, a neighborhood, or city, you can always change your position. And somebody just said this a few minutes ago. And on a personal note, you can always change your mind. In fact, that's where all change begins. Allow Spirit to guide you towards a new perspective on a rigid belief, negative behavior, or thought pattern. It's time for a much needed change. Did I not say? It's time to walk away from something you built. Something you held so near and dear to your heart that is terrifying to let go of. It's time. Because what you don't see coming is the Scholar, the new beginning. This is the Fool in this deck. It's the Fool. Proverbs 15, verse 14. The discerning heart seeks knowledge, but let me start that over. The discerning heart seeks knowledge, but the mouth of a fool feeds on folly. You may need to become a student again, or become one for the first time in your life. This young brother is in the middle of the street in a busy concrete jungle, but he's looking up and still moving forward with wonder in his eyes and the good book in hand. He read something that made him want to get up from wherever he was and move towards something new, something unknown. He's no longer letting fear hold him back. Sometimes taking a leap of faith, like the Fool in tarot, often depicted as walking blindly off a cliff, can be the scariest thing you've ever done, but it may prove to be the most rewarding. Being teachable doesn't make you weak or naive. It can make you wiser, braver, and maybe even happier. Return to innocence. Become the student. There's nothing wrong. There's so much reward in becoming the student again. Whatever it is you need to learn. And in this spiritual journey, like there are endless things to learn. Endless. And you can learn on your own, but you learn even more when you include other people, when you seek advice, when you seek counsel, you get a mentor. I have a mentor that I don't know if she knows she's my mentor, but a mentor who is also like becoming my friend. And it's just beautiful. Like a couple, actually. Like I have a couple of people in my life now that have been on this journey longer that can teach me, and what they're teaching me mostly is what they did wrong, what they decided they needed to learn, what they had to let go of, because that helps me to like put it in context in my life. Okay, well, I probably do need to let go of this or this person or this way of thinking in order to ascend. You can't climb a ladder carrying unless you're a firefighter. It's real hard to climb a ladder carrying a bunch of stuff. If you're going up on a roof to clean the gutters or like do something else up there, I don't know what you would do unless you are very skillful and have really good balance, because I couldn't do it. But if you're going up there, it doesn't make sense to carry a big old tool belt if you can create a pulley system and like have somebody help you get it up there once you're up there. Just thinking smart and like removing some of the weight. Removing some of the weight as you ascend. Make a world of difference. So I swear this hour goes by so fast I don't even realize. It's been an hour. I thought this was going to be a quick reading. Haha. Joke's on me. So, since we're here, let's get a charm or two. I get one for each pile. What else does the collective need to know, Spirit, for moving forward on this journey? So if you so choose, if you choose to accept the continuation of your spiritual journey. Ice cold. It's a snowflake. So at least that's how I see it. I don't know if it's supposed to be Metatron's cube, but I definitely see it's kind of both. I don't know. It may be something completely different, but I'm seeing a snowflake and Metatron's cube. There is protection. There is balance, the iciness with the fire. Temperance is Sagittarius. Temperance is Sagittarius energy, which is a fire sign. You know, like all of this fire is being tamed. This impulsivity, this ego death, being of service rather than self-serving. Sagittarians can also be kind of selfish. I said it. I'm a rising Sagittarius, and that part of me, it can be selfish. So it's like overcoming that, balancing that fiery energy with a little cool. Even this picture, it kind of looks like the heat from the sun and the water, which can be cold or cool, you know, balancing each other. Making arrangements. Arrangements require balance, balancing things out. You gotta be flexible. So, feels like a little, I'm seeing like a hot branding iron being dropped in the water to cool off. And I hear the sound of the steam. The steam doesn't make a sound, does it? That's okay. That's something to Google. Just what the sound is when it's putting out the heat on that hot iron. It's being neutralized is not the word I want to say, but that's what came to mind. It's being returned to stasis. I just read something about homeostasis recently too. Just your most natural state of being. If your natural state of being is listening to your intuition, that is your natural state, is listening to your intuition. We are taught not to trust our intuition. That's programming. What's innate is following your heart, following your first mind, as some old folks say. That's the truth. That's the authenticity. One more. Let's get 3 more. Ooh, how apt is this? An anchor with the ship. Staying anchored. Asking the right questions of people that know more than you will keep you anchored. It will keep you grounded in a watery sort of way. It will keep you stable. Because it's not permanent. You don't put down an anchor to stay in one spot forever. You put one down for a temporary pause, to go through the tower, to go through the storm. Not to sink, but to make it through the storm. Make it through that choppy water, which you'll get advice from your elders to do. Stay anchored. Always stay inquisitive. You know, that's how you reground when you feel like you're off on your own. Okay, I'll be sure reference. It helps to come back to your roots, to come back to your foundation, re-energize, to get, more advice, new tools. That might be therapy for some people. Shout out to therapy and therapists. Good ones, that is. Not the bad ones. We're not talking to them. We're talking to the good ones. Ay, ay, ay. I consider myself a good one. At least I try to be. Alright. Let's wrap this up. Ooh, fish. So that obviously is thought of as a symbol of fertility, of someone actually being pregnant right now. This could be with a literal reproduced human, or it could be about teaching somebody to fish. That came up recently in another reading. If you feed a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. And if you teach him how to fish, though, he'll eat forever. And I like to go further with that one. He can teach someone else how to fish. So it's passing a skill down, right? Passing a skill down, letting go of not gatekeeping the knowledge. You know, there's so many gatekeepers. I don't know why, because first of all, it doesn't stay gatekept. But information that's meant to be disseminated will eventually be disseminated, even if you're trying to stand in the way or somebody's trying to stand in the way of it. So and that giving a man a fish can represent knowledge, you know, like being self-sufficient, but also teaching somebody something, and being the man who's been, or the woman who's been given a fish. Use what you've learned to help other people, to change your perspective, to put an end to something with grace. Could also just like to eat fish. Somebody could like fish. Last one. Wrap this up. Thank you for staying with me this long, if you have. Because it felt like that message was struggling to come out, but I finally got it, I think. I got it. Okay. What's in my hand? A beetle. But specifically, this is I don't know what other kind of beetle it would be. It is definitely a ladybug. So, the ladybug, to me, symbolizes, you know, visitation from a past over loved one. Makes me think of that. The red and black are protection colors, even though this one's not colored. It's all golden. Gold is also a color of protection, a mineral of protection. Jeez. Here, I'm living my life like it's golden. The song Golden by Jill Scott. You might need to, hold on, I just got a couple things. You might need to start thinking more about your ancestors. You know, everybody's different about that, and how they view ancestors, if they even venerate ancestors at all. But it could be called to pay homage to them, have an altar for them, give sacrifices in their honor. They're talking about cutting, this is, I'm not talking about sacrificing animals, but, you know, even though some people do that to eat them, this is about just respect. It's just about respect, about the humans that are literally responsible for you being here, because had they not gotten together and made babies, they would have had your grandparents, your parents, etc. So, if for no other reason, to give them thanks for your life, you know, and their protection. So I do believe they protect us from the spirit realm, especially when we ask them and we thank them, especially when. But also the ladybug is often mistaken for another similar looking bug. I forget what they're called, but they're like slightly different in color, a little more orangey, I believe, that are invasive pests. So, and you know, ladybugs are bright red. They're unmistakable red and black, little black dots, but these are kind of orangish. You might need pest control for. So that's also a message to use your discernment, that some things look alike, but they are very different. And our spiritual journeys definitely teach us that, to be able to differentiate between safe and unsafe, real and unreal, spiritual and not spiritual, high vibrational, low vibrational, you know, just like being able to use your third eye to discern who has your best interest at heart, who doesn't, what rooms you couldn't be in without taking on too much people's stuff or being drained of your energy by energy vampires. You know, people that want to spend all day on the phone with you and not say a word. You know, and this is my personal problem, so that's very different for everybody. Some people like to be on the phone. I hate being on the phone. I hate being on the phone forever because I could be doing other things and I get distracted. It feels like I'm delayed and I really just want to rush off. I would rather text asynchronously. I can text you now, you respond 10 minutes later, I respond an hour later, and it's no thing. You know, I still do what I got to do and we're still having a conversation, but it doesn't require all of my attention for a sustained period of time. So I don't know why I said that, but it's for a reason. Just being yourself and knowing that people will accept you for who you are. They'll get you. They will not chastise you. They will not try to make you behave like them. They will not try to make you be exactly like them. You know, so yeah, because you don't want to be mistaken for somebody you're not. And you will be if you're not being yourself. See how that goes? I'm not being myself, therefore people will mistake me for who I am. Because they're confused. Of course they'd be confused. This journey teaches you to be yourself, to love yourself, to know exactly who you are, so that other people cannot put labels on you. They can't tell you who you are. If you know. Because they can't be wrong and you be right. One of these people is not right. And it shouldn't be you when we're talking about yourself. So. That's the message. And it feels like for the people this is for, you're on the right track. Make arrangements to fit your spirituality into your life. Ask the right question. Face your fear. Follow. Not just face it, but if that bitch turns around, follow it. Put it to bed. You know? And face a new fear. Face a new fear. Once you master this one, return back to you. Okay. Thanks for watching. This is from my imagination to yours.